Coming up in the news, the Ministry of Health giving an update tonight in the fight against COVID-19. The vaccination process has officially resumed on this northern island. And the Department of Social Services recognizing April as Child Protection Month. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. The number of COVID-19 cases appears to be rising in the country. That coming during the Ministry of Health's press conference in the nation's capital this afternoon. The country's health minister says teams are currently monitoring the increase of cases on a number of islands, and he is encouraging Bahamians to do their part by following all of the safety measures to stop the spread of the virus. Italia Hall has our top story.
Minister of Health, the Honorable Renwood Wells, releasing the latest COVID-19 statistics, confirming that there were 20 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 on Tuesday, bringing the total number of cases in the Bahamas to 9,296.
Currently, there are 9 moderately ill COVID-19 patients hospitalized in the Grand Bahama healthcare system. There are no patients currently in intensive care in Grand Bahama.
He says there has been an increase in COVID-19 positive cases on the islands of New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Abaco. Additionally, as of last month, there's been an overall increase in the number of hospitalizations. Grand Bahama had the highest rate of hospitalizations in the month of March, followed by New Providence.
However, based on yesterday's data, hospitalizations in Grand Bahama decreased. Health officials will continue to monitor this situation. Currently, there are a total of 23 beds available on the island of Grand Bahama for COVID-19 patients. 16 beds at the Cancer Association of the Bahamas and 7 beds at the Infectious Disease Center. The Ministry of Health stands ready to cope with the current number of hospitalizations in country.
And as to whether or not there are any variants of the COVID-19 virus in the Bahamas, well, the minister says 52 COVID-19 positive samples were collected from New Providence, Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, Exuma, Bimini, and Andros, and was sent to a laboratory in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
28 of these samples were successfully sequenced. None of the samples were found to have COVID-19 variants of public concern.
Minister Wells says Bahamians should not let their guards down and must continue to take all of the necessary precautions. He says to date, the Bahamas has received a total of 53,600 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Continuing with PAHO, the Bahamas is scheduled to receive an additional 67,200 vaccines through the COVAX facility. The government continues to work on all fronts to secure additional vaccines from approved providers. To date, more than 10,000 first doses of the COVID-19 vaccines have been administered to Bahamians and residents. We are vaccinating over 1,000 individuals per day, and we are actively working to increase this number.
Now, currently, vaccinations are open to the following persons at this time: healthcare workers, persons 60 years of age and older, uniformed branches, teachers and staff of schools, homebound, physically challenged residents, students and athletes studying or competing abroad, and hospitality workers. Now the list is expected to expand. To make an appointment online for the vaccine, persons can visit www.vax.gov.bs. The minister concluding his statement by encouraging Bahamians to take the vaccine at the earliest opportunity. He adds that before going to the vaccine appointment, persons should ensure that they have a good night's sleep, as rest can assist with the immune system's response. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
The administration of the COVID-19 vaccine resuming at the Susan J. Wallace Center here in Grand Bahama today for healthcare workers, persons 60 years of age and older, and members of the uniformed branches. Our ZNS News team stopped by the vaccination site early this morning. Here is Ramiko Knowles.
Vaccinations resuming at the Susan J. Wallace Center after a long holiday weekend, and as you can see behind me, persons are lined up with forms in hand, ready to be vaccinated. According to administrators, a valid work ID indicating proof of occupation and or proof of age is required at the center for vaccination. Temperature checks were given to everyone before entering the building. Workers of the Grand Bahamas Shipyard, Container Port, and Freeport Harbor Company could be seen inside waiting to receive the vaccine. On the outside, scores of persons were seated on the park bench waiting to be called inside. Liz Clark, a Grand Bahamian currently living in North Carolina, returned home to ensure that her father receives his shot. She says so far the process has been smooth.
Everyone friendly, organized. It's wonderful. There's so many people who are sick and dying, and we just want to make sure that he just lives his life to the best that he can. He's elderly, but he still can have excellent quality of life. We don't want him catching it.
But educator Hayden Hanna says for him, it has not been as easy.
My wife and I went online to try to register online last night, but the website that we were given yesterday when we came here wasn't working, so it's kind of new, so I guess we need to give them some time to work out the kinks.
The online wasn't working.
It is working. Can you try it this morning?
Site manager at the Susan J. Wallace Center addressing the crowd, confirming that the website vax.gov.bs is in fact working. But those who did not register online signed up at the registration site located under a tent at the center.
I really haven't found out what the process is. I'm trying to figure that out right now. They say fill these forms out. I thought this was done previously with somebody else, but it's not an easy process, but it's necessary.
Rotary Club member Betty Van Loo on the outside assisting persons with registration.
They reached out to Rotary along with other organizations for assistance with, I guess, more or less paperwork and registration for the persons coming in for the vaccine. It's a good thing to help. It's always good to help, and especially that we're dealing with our seniors. They need help, some with filling out the forms, so we're able to help them fill out the forms. We're able to assist them in whatever area they need assistance in.
Now, although the lines are a bit long, those waiting to be vaccinated say they don't mind the wait, as organizers have informed them that everyone will be seen today. Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Health officials continue to sound the alarm about large gatherings and how these events can aid in the spread of the deadly COVID virus. With that in mind, police on Grand Bahama are advising that a big social event being advertised for this weekend in the Morris Island community has not been approved by the relevant authorities. Jamila Mizik picks up the story.
Despite the recent cancellation of a number of events on Grand Bahama, Bimini, and Grand Key, event organizers continue to promote activities on these northern islands. The latest event being promoted is a beach party, and according to the promotional flyer circulating on social media, it is expected to be held on Rabbit Key Moores Island on April 11th. Officer in charge of the Northeastern Division, Assistant Superintendent Teresita Pinder says police are aware of this and will be out in full force as the event, dubbed Bad Freaks Beach Bash, is not sanctioned by the competent authority or the Commissioner of Police.
It is with great disappointment that I inform the general public that despite the many efforts of officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force to enforce the COVID-19 protocols, which were implemented to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus, individuals persist in promoting major events that are not sanctioned by the competent authority or the Commissioner of Police. The most recent event, named Bad Freaks, is being promoted to occur on April 11th on Moores Island. I hereby offer a warning to all individuals planning to partake in this event that members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force are aware of this beach party. Furthermore, on the mentioned date, police presence will be on Moores Island in full force.
Now, according to the event flyer, there will also be round-trip boat transportation from Sandy Point and McLeanstown.
Officers of the Marine Section are scheduled to conduct vigorous patrols of the seas, and we will effectively man all harbors and landing docks in the McLeanstown area and East End, Grand Bahama.
Superintendent Pinder is also cautioning business proprietors and members of the public that the Royal Bahamas Police Force are now exercising a zero-tolerance policy as it relates to violators of the COVID-19 regulations.
This has resulted in some individuals receiving fines exceeding $5,000. This is an indication that officers are not hesitating to issue citations at the appropriate fees. I once again remind the public that COVID-19 regulations are not implemented to be rigid or inconsiderate. However, they are necessary to ensure the general well-being of the Bahamian people. In conclusion, I once again urge the public to do their part to reduce the spread of the coronavirus. I therefore implore that you refrain from promoting and attending these illegal events.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Police taking 2 firearms off the streets of Grand Bahama in 2 separate incidents. Officers of the Drug Enforcement Unit, while on mobile patrol in the Williamstown area on Easter Monday, observed a group of males congregating in the area of the public restrooms. Officers conducted a search of the area where the males were and discovered on the western side of the building, inside a concrete water meter box, a black .380 Glock pistol with 4 unfired hollow tip ammunition. No arrest was made in this matter. In the second incident around 2 a.m. yesterday, officers of the Northeastern Division and Rapid Response Unit, acting on information and armed with a search warrant, went to a residence on Cromwell Drive. There, officers discovered inside the residence a black Smith & Wesson .40 pistol with 6 live rounds of .40 ammunition and 1 .40 hollow tip ammunition that was hidden in the bedroom. A male and a female who reside in that home was arrested and taken into police custody. In other news, the Department of Social Services on Grand Bahama recognizing this month as Child Protection Month under the theme Child Abuse Prevention Begins With Us. The department kicking off the observance with a church service at Mary Star of the Sea Catholic Church this morning to pray for children and for those responsible for them. Jamila Mizik was there.
The Department of Social Services has been commemorating Child Protection Month for the past 23 years. That according to Assistant Director of the Northern Bahamas District, Charlemagne Fernander. She notes that the month of April was chosen because it is the month of the United Nations Children's Day, where they pay special attention to the issues of children.
Unfortunately, in our world and in our nation, we still have incidences of child abuse, neglect, abandonment, etc. And of course, even one such incident is too much. So we cannot relax our guard. We have to continue to share information. We have to continue to enforce the law, the Child Protection Act. We have to continue to do everything that we can to protect our children, who are, of course, the future of this nation.
She says during this time, there has been an increase in cases of child abuse.
And that's probably largely because of the fact that children are at home more. They're more easily accessible to those who would abuse children, to those who haven't got much patience with children. Children become an irritant to them. These are some of the factors that lead to a spike in incidences of child abuse.
However, Fernando says help is available and the department is always prepared and willing to assist.
You don't need to bear these problems alone. If you think you're having a difficulty, if you think you're in danger of abusing your child, if you believe a child has been abused and neglected, then please report it to the Department of Social Services. You can do so anonymously so that we can take action. Give us as much information as you need, like the school the child goes to, the names of the parents, the exact address, the circumstances and the time that you witnessed certain things, any kind of information like that. As I said, you can remain anonymous. In any event, a person doesn't have to know for a fact. Many people believe they have to know for a fact that a child is being abused and neglected. No, you only have to believe it. And you cannot be prosecuted under the Child Protection Act if you really genuinely believe something is wrong. That is always much better than to leave a matter unreported and to cause the child to suffer more by your silence.
She says persons can contact the department through one of several ways.
The Department of Social Services in Grand Bahama is located in the Sun Plaza on West Atlas Way. We have another office in 8 Mile Rock, through a corner opposite the new government administration complex that's being constructed. Also, we have offices in Allenstown, Bimini, in Fire Road, North Abaco, and in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. So those are our locations. Our telephone contact at the office here in Freeport is 352-9851 or 2. You can reach us via our ministry's website, Ministry of Social Services and Urban Development. You can come by the office. You can reach out to the police or the hospitals or clinics, to the office of the Prime Minister, the local administrator's office. There's many ways to reach us.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
A pillar in the East Grand Bahama community has passed away. Captain Philip Thomas Sr., a businessman and resident of McLeanstown, died last week after a short illness. Thompson operated Captain Phil's and Mel's fishing tour and Sweeting's fishing camp, where he offered bone fishing, sightseeing, snorkeling, and other water tours. Thomas was an outspoken advocate for East Grand Bahama and was passionate about the development of his community. The Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama issuing a statement today on the passing of Captain Philip Thomas Sr. Italia Hall has more.
Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama K. Peter Turnquist says, "It is with great sadness to learn of the passing of Captain Philip Thomas Sr., a strong advocate and community leader not only in McLeanstown, but the entire East End District. Thomas served as chief counselor in local government, chairman of various local boards and associations, and was an advocate for equal treatment for his communities and its people, accepting no compromise." Turnquist says Captain Phil, as he was affectionately called, was also a keen bonefish guide and boatman, and included in his list of clients were many local and international dignitaries of global renown, and his skills were legendary and in demand. The area MP recalls that Captain Phil was a strong advocate for the fishers in the area and the protection of the fishing grounds for Bahamians. Turnquist noting that many would know that Captain Phil and his wife, Principal Romilda, lost 2 sons in separate incidents, but not far apart, as well as several grandchildren during the passing of Hurricane Dorian. But he says Philip Thomas Sr. remained strong and courageous during that difficult time and continued to raise his voice in support of community initiatives and concerns for the rebuilding and restoration of vital infrastructure. MP Turnquist says Captain Phil will be missed for his ideas, his willingness to serve and stand out when others were afraid to speak truth to power, and his willingness to always get his hands involved in any worthwhile effort. He adds that Captain Phil's passing should be a reminder to all that the pandemic is not over by any stretch of the imagination, and that it has no respect of class or physical strength. The East Grand Bahama MP noting that persons must continue to do their part to remain safe by observing the protocols and by taking the vaccine when it is available. MP Turnquist concluding his statement by saying that his heart goes out to the widow of Captain Philip Thomas Sr., Principal Romilda Thomas, and says Bahamians must all pray for her strength during this time. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us, there's more news right after this break.